This is a chart of the entire South Bay area from Manhattan, Hermosa, Redondo, the Peninsula, San Pedro, Torrance, Hawthorne, Lawndale, Lomita, Carson. And one of the things that I find interesting is that from the bottom of the market in 09, 2010, this measures month versus previous months, that same month year. So in other words, let's say we were looking at May 2015 average price sale prices versus minus May 2014 prices. This is what that measures, is the difference. So you can see how the market was dropping, negative numbers, and then we hit the bottom of the market and things started improving rapidly, appreciating from 2010 to now. But you notice how the slope of the line, of the trend line here, is beginning to slow. So things are quieting a bit. The market is taking a breath. I'm not suggesting at all that the sky is falling or the market's going to drop tremendously or anything like that. What I am suggesting, though, is that things are beginning to plateau. The market is taking a breath. In this chart, what we're looking at is the month versus prior year same month differential in prices for Palos Verdes estates. In the previous chart, we were looking at the entire South Bay, but this chart is a little bit different. And one of the interesting observations that I see here is that, do you see how the top lines here, in 05 it was at a lower high than in 03, while during the same time, if we were to overlay a price chart on this, we would have seen prices increase. So while prices were increasing, the month versus prior year's month was decreasing, kind of a signal that things were topping out. And then of course in 06, look at the pronounced drop here. Prices were really escalating between 05 and 06, yet the differential between the prior year for that same month was really dropping off. That was a signal that the market's ready to really dump. And indeed, in 07 and 08, it did exactly that. And here we see that a low here in 2010, but a higher low in 2012, sort of in a higher high here versus here, indicating that the market would appreciate. And indeed, we discovered exactly that. Now, this negative divergence that we saw here, that maybe in a way predicted a price drop, we're not seeing that now. And that's what leads me to believe that even though the market is taking a breath, it's not really behaving in a manner that would indicate to us that prices are ready to fall. I think at worst, prices are going to plateau or appreciate in single digits. And now let's take a look at the peninsula as a whole, what is going on with sale prices and sale volume. And this chart goes back to, all the way back to May of 1993. And we see that the market again peaked in 06. We had our little correction, and it's been climbing steadily since then, with sales also in a long-term uptrend, with a higher high here versus this high, etc., and higher lows. So the trend continues. Alrighty, so let's kind of wrap it up here, and let's look at some major trends going on with supply and demand in the three areas of Palos Verdes estates, the peninsula as a whole, and the South Bay as a whole. And in each of the categories, I've divided it up into 6-month intervals. May through October of 2015 versus the same time period in 14 versus the 6-month time period for the previous month. So we can see that the differences, or in this case, the number of pending sales, demand, is exactly equal between these two time periods, 6-month time periods. Um, Although supplies have increased, so what that has created is an increase in the number of days of unsold inventory for the Palos Verdes estates. So it's a little bit more than 7% more days on market for the existing levels of active inventory to be sold, given the pace that homes are selling now. Okay, so this is an absorption rate that we're talking about. And for the peninsula, the absorption rate is actually decreased. There's fewer number of days of unsold inventory on the market, and the reason why is because listing supply has dropped a little bit, and demand has actually increased a little bit. And for the South Bay as a whole, boy, big changes. This inventory supply has dropped a tiny bit, but demand has increased tremendously, 10%. So the number of days of unsold inventory is a lot less when you take into account the entire South Bay area. So the market's still chugging along. If you'd like to subscribe to my charts, just send me an email. In the subject line, just write George, send me your charts. They are proprietary, so in some cases we'll share them. And if you're a realtor, I'm sorry, it's a lot of work that I put into this. You're not able to get these charts. Only clients or folks that will consider to be clients. Thanks very much for checking in. I appreciate it. Stay tuned for next month's market update. Bye for now.